SMB Nation. Harry here, back with the dream team. Michael Jenkin out of Perth, Australia. Ken Dwight out of Houston, Texas. Welcome, gentlemen. How you doing?
Great, but I'll let Michael correct you on what part of Australia he's in.
I could take a drive 18 to 20 hours that away, and I could go to Perth, but no, I'm in Adelaide. So I can't say sunny old bright Adelaide. I'll say dreary, wet, cold, unusually wet Adelaide. But yes, welcome, Harry. We're here.
All right, my bad. Well, I'll tell you what, we want to talk about ransomware family shutting down, but actually just changing identities multiple times in some cases. You guys turned me on to an interesting article on this on Cribs on Security. So start with you, Ken. What's the basic story? What's going on here?
Well, the basic story is that, as you know, there have been some very high-profile ransomware incidents, and they're pretty quickly attributed to a particular ransomware group that created the malware in the first place. And a couple of the most recent ones everybody heard about were the Colonial Pipeline and the JBS Meatpackers, and most recently the Kaseya breach. And each one of those, as part of the early analysis, it was revealed, well, this is an REvil attack, or Soto no Kibi, or it's a bit paymer, double paymer. And before long, in fact, there have been several cases now where these ransomware creators have just disappeared. And their dark web sites and their Bitcoin wallet and everything have just gone away. And so when this first happened, there was kind of a collective sigh of relief that, whoa, they must have made enough money and decided to get out of the business before the cops come after them or whatever. But then within a day or two, it turns out that the same people that did that particular one had reincarnated under a different name. But the analysts that go through the code, they disassemble and reverse engineer, recognize the fingerprints of this particular ransomware. And yes, it may have a different name now, but this technique they're using and this encryption method and this whatever, they can say with a high degree of certainty it's the same people under this name now that were under that other name last week. So
interesting. Michael, over to you. Thoughts?
Yeah, look, it's like a hot potato. Nobody wants to hold a hot potato in their hand. The ransomware writers become the hot potato, and everyone's attention sort of points towards them. They become big in the media. They do something very large, and suddenly there's people after them. And they really enjoy making their money, and they don't want to be found, and they don't want to be in a perpetual, I guess, running around trying to duck and hide and weave. So they've become a hot potato, and the easiest way to get rid of that hot potato, change your name, make the focus look elsewhere, deny that was you, move on. That way, if something happens, you can't be blamed for that other stuff. At the same time as doing that, they've also hit a few high-profile places that probably doesn't sit well with people, like hospitals and things like that. And of course, they want to disassociate themselves from I guess, being evil and as a business. And as soon as they get associated with having done the wrong thing, and we know ransomware is the wrong thing, but targeting things they shouldn't be targeting, the best way to move on is to change your name. And of course, it's also a great way to release a whole brand new Tor website and a whole brand new different technologies, and I guess up one yourself from the previous incarnation. So I do see them as that hot potato. They've become a little hot. So let's come up with a brand new fantastic name, and let's just go do it all again, but under our brand new umbrella of whoever we are now. And that's what they've done.
Yeah, by analogy, and I can't out-engineer you guys, but I'll give you a real worldism. By analogy, I used to always joke as a Seattle entrepreneur forming SMB Nation, if the feathers hit the fan, I could be in Bozeman, Montana by Monday and recreate myself with a new identity, right? No one would know who I am. I could recreate my line of work. And so it's a well-worn path. Fortunately, I didn't have to drive away in the middle of the night and do that. But by analogy, I think that's the conversation we're having.
Yeah. And especially with the political heat that's been turned up on these recent attacks. And of course, our politicians are good at figuring out how they can get their names in the news and make all kind of threats and whatever. So there's still a lot of things we don't know about what went on behind the scenes with these recent attacks, and what if any government officials or agencies were involved, but things that are beyond our pay grade probably.
Yeah, no, I like that phrase too. Well, shout out again to Cribs on Security, folks. Be sure to bookmark that. And then finally, Michael, you're in your winter. What is a winter day? And thank you for the correction, Adelaide, Australia. What is a winter day? I mean, is it in Fahrenheit? Is it 50s, 60s in the Fahrenheit? Maybe have a jumper or sweater in the back of the car?
Okay, I'm not very good with Fahrenheit. Celsius, I can tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
But it ranges across Australia. So, for example, there's a place on the Riverland that I had to do some work a couple of weeks ago, and that was -4 Celsius.
Oh, well, I get that.
It's a minus number, but it's not as bad as the numbers you guys have. And it can get as high as 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. So it's not super cold. But it's cold enough that we recognize it because we also have 40, 44 degrees Celsius, which is over 100, 110 Fahrenheit. I do know that number because, it comes up a lot here in Australia. But yes, we do get quite warm here. So it's probably more the change between the seasons is so dramatic that you are going from wanting to basically bathe in ice through to stand in your oven. It does get quite dramatically different. And to be honest, this year has been very overcast, very wet, very cold compared to previous years. A lot of storm cells. We've even had probably 3 times within about 2 weeks tornadoes here in South Australia, which is something historically we don't get. So this winter has been very unusual, which they're blaming on the water patterns in the ocean and how it's going around at the moment and distributing heat and everything else.
Yeah.
But I suspect you're experiencing that a bit in Texas as well with wetter than average. I think that's all part of it, all wrapped up together.
Yeah, the part of I live in the central part of Texas, and coldest winter in 14 summer in 14 years, and ahead of plan on rain. How about you, Ken? You're down in Houston, I know the heat has now arrived. What are your thoughts? And we'll call it good.
Yeah, we're typical summer. We had a week or two that it was maybe 5 degrees cooler for the high, meaning that it only got up to the high 80s instead of the low to mid 90s for the highs. So it was still summer in Houston, and the humidity hasn't changed.
All right. Well, guys, we'll see you next time. Thanks for your time.
All right. Thank you, Harry, Michael, Jenny. Good seeing you all.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.